Welcome back, guys. I'm Mike Burrows from StanceWorks. This is my 1981 Ferrari 308 GTBi, and if you are just now tuning in, we are slowly but surely ruining this poor car. At least that's what I've been told, but the truth is we are swapping in a Honda K24 that we will be turbocharging, and with that we are converting this car into a time attack race car that I can also use on the street. We are striving for that delicate balance between practicality and purpose built. Now, if you haven't seen the last few episodes, we are in the middle of pulling the interior out of this car. The interior that was in it was really nice, but it's just not quite what I was after. I'm envisioning something that is akin to an F40 interior or maybe a 911 RSR, something really Spartan, utilitarian, no frills. Part of achieving that is getting rid of everything that we don't need because we are also looking to shave every pound we can from this car. In the last episode, we removed some of the carpet, but we left behind a lot of insulation and adhesive on the sheet metal, so we're gonna start by removing that today. But before we do that, I do have 3 announcements that I wanna make, and I'm excited about all of them. The first one is that the engine from this car sold on Bring a Trailer last week, and it sold for way more than I ever expected it could, $11,750, and that's a ton of budget to put right back into this car. The second announcement is, last week I also purchased the engine that will be going into this car. The one that's in here now is just a mock-up. We're just using it as a core motor. The one that I purchased is a fully built sleeved K24 that will handle a ton of power many, many weeks from now when it arrives. We've got to be patient. Last but not least is over the weekend we crossed 25,000 subscribers, and that's huge to me. I know that's not the biggest number compared to most other channels, but I can't believe it. That number has exploded since I started shooting these videos 2 months ago, and I am thrilled that so many of you guys want to support this channel, want to keep coming back and see this build happen. It means the world to me. I cannot thank you enough. I don't even know what to say. I do want to get started on this though. I'm hopeful that this might just be our last disassembly video. I'm tired of taking stuff apart. I'm sure you guys are too. I want to start engineering and fabricating and making forward progress. We just got to get all these little hurdles out of the way first. So let's head over to the workbench and I'm going to show you guys where we're going to start today before we actually get this adhesive out of the car. Now, before I dive into this, it's probably worth making sure you've seen the last couple of episodes so you know what I'm referencing and what I'm talking about. But if you have already seen them or if you just don't care, we're removing adhesive and, more importantly, sound insulation and jute fibers that are stuck to the inside sheet metal of the car. There are a lot of different ways to do this job. Plenty of you guys watching probably have a method of your own. There are solvents that will do this, such as xylene or acetone, but there's a lot of reasons I don't want to use those, most of which it's just going to make a mess, and it's also irritating to the skin and your eyes, and it makes it tough to breathe, and I'd rather just put in some elbow grease and get this done the old-fashioned way. The first tool on the list today, and I think it's going to be the winner for today, are these 3M plastic brushes. And these go on a roll-lock connector for a die grinder, which is pretty easy to find if you go to pretty much any hardware store. These come in different grits, which is what the different colors represent, and they also come in different sizes. And really, they're simple. They're soft, pliable. These plastic bristles are going to abrade away whatever you're working on without damaging what's underneath, which is what's important to me today. Now, if you don't know where to find those, there are a lot of other options. The first on the list are these sanding discs, also a roll-lock connector. These are really useful and really easy to find, but the problem is they will remove material underneath very quickly, so you gotta be careful. I do have a lot of sanding drums, which might be kind of useful. This type that I have a lot of is probably a bit too stiff for what we're trying to do, but they do make Scotch-Brite versions that are quite pliable, very soft, and so we might wind up using this to get into some nooks and crannies today. Very useful. On that same Scotch-Brite front, they do make all sorts of Scotch-Brite discs. I don't know if we'll need these today, but they are useful to have around. I've always got a few. And last but not least, I recently found this, which is a plastic bristled wire brush. This one is from a brand called Nyalox. I haven't used it yet, couldn't tell you if it's any good, but I thought it was pretty neat when I saw it and figured it might be useful to have someday, and today might just be that day, so we'll have to see. But like I said, I think these are going to be the trick for today. They are called a 3M bristle disc. If you wind up looking for them, let's use them in the car and see how they work. As you guys can see, this thing's doing a really good job of removing the insulation while doing relatively minimal damage to the finish underneath it. It's pulling off a bit of glue while I use it, and in a few spots it's worn through the paint, but overall I'm really happy with how this tool seems to be working. It's pulling all of the insulation off pretty much instantly, and this entire process has only taken me a few minutes. With the different sized heads, I'm also able to reach into different nooks and crannies, which is allowing me to get pretty much all of it out of the car. Last but not least, I need to vacuum up the huge mess that it made. And there you have it, guys. That is a ton of that insulation removed. And it's not all of it. There's a few still pieces hanging on that I got to go through and get out of here. But this whole thing is looking so much better already. I'm way happier with it. Just generally much cleaner inside. Now, there is still a lot of kind of base adhesive for the carpet that's in here. And I've got to decide if I want to take it down. I did experiment a little bit over here to see kind of what it's like removing it. And to be honest, I'm not sure it's worth it. I mean, we're probably talking about a cumulative pound of weight if we're talking about performance reasons to remove it. So it's really only for aesthetic reasons to get it out of here. And I plan on putting carpet over this. It was here before. This is how it came. Is it really wrong to leave it? Probably not. So for now, I'm going to leave it like this. This is a good setup once we wipe it down and get rid of the dust. This should be good to re-adhere carpet to. I think I'm pretty happy with it. There's still some stuff up front to remove, but overall, much improved. So I'm kind of tired of kicking up dust and making a big mess. I think I'm going to go back to kind of working on some stuff on the front. Like I said last time, there is still some stuff up front to remove. And I think first thing on that list is removing the windshield wiper system. I mentioned I didn't know if I wanted to remove it yet, but I have officially decided windshield wipers are for nerds. So let's get it pulled out. I'm not going to need it. It never rains in Southern California, and when it does rain, I'm not going to be driving on track. And worst case scenario, I can put like Rain-X or a similar product on the windshield. It's going to be totally fine. So let's pull it out. I'm starting this process by removing the windshield wiper blades first, and the hardware that's attached to the top of them. I thought I'd have to remove the windshield jets too, but it turns out those definitely don't have to come off for this. Underneath the car, I'm pulling off the wiper motor, which is attached to the arm that actuates the wipers themselves and a linkage that supports the whole system. I happened to miss these circlips, which made getting the whole thing out a real frustrating adventure for a while. Once I spotted them, I pulled them off, and the linkage itself popped right out. So we're mostly free at this point, but what I'm struggling with is this armature here is essentially just a brace for the whole system. I have the actual linkage out. And this part kind of passes up through the top, but I have all the hardware off, and I haven't figured out how they actually come out yet. Feels like it's bolted in, but I don't see any hardware holding anything at this point. The motor's free, so I don't know. I'm gonna have to keep exploring, I suppose. After a bit of searching, it turns out there were some plastic rings on the studs passing through the cowl of the car that I needed to remove. So as said, these were kind of tough to get off. I think they were just seized to the threads. But once these were out, the system came out, and I just put them on the scales, and the entirety of it, including the wiper blades, is 9 pounds and 3 ounces of weight. I'm pretty happy with that. It's a decent chunk. We're gonna put some caps in those holes later down the road. The good news is, I think there's more weight hiding behind the same panel on the other side. Let's take a look. All right, so what we've got here are some long AC lines, and obviously we don't need those anymore. They're also kind of heavy. They're high pressure lines, so we need to get them out of here. The downside at the moment is they are also stuck behind the other side fuel tank. So we've got to move to the back and repeat what we did last episode, huh? All right, let's do it. The process for removing the fuel tank on this side is exactly the same as the previous one. There are two straps that hold the tank itself on, and once I removed those, it was pretty much just hoses attached to the top that I needed to get out of the way. Once I got the crossover tank line on the bottom of the tank pulled off, it came up and out, and just like the other side, it came out just barely without hitting the edge of the fender. All of that just to get to that guy right there. The freaking zip tie. Let's clip it off. All right, so I just put these lines on the scale, and I'm excited to say they weigh just shy of 10 pounds. Pretty heavy, but they are pretty long. That does mean that we pulled about 31 pounds out of the car today, including the fuel cell that is not going back in, although there will be a dry sump tank that's got to go in its place, so we're not all a net loss today, but we'll take what we can get. One thing that is cool that I have found is that the fuel tanks in this car are aluminum. It's probably the only aluminum part I have found on this thing, but they are lightweight and it eliminates any need for me to spend an exorbitant amount of money on a custom aluminum fuel cell, other than if I need to find a way to baffle the fuel, but I'll worry about that when we get there. All right, up next, I'm gonna pull the door cards out of this car so that we can cross the interior completely off the list and say that it is fully stripped, and we can take forward steps towards actually getting the interior done. I figured I'd quickly show you guys how this thing actually comes out, or at least how I think it comes out. We've got some hardware hiding underneath here that we're gonna need to pull. The door handles are located under here too. I think once this armrest comes off, which I've actually got both of those sold, they need to ship out. Once that comes off, I'm hopeful that the rest of the door card should come off with a handful of screws. We'll have to see. All right, so there are a few alarming things in here, one of them more so than the other. So when I first saw this, I thought, wow, we found the first rust in the car, but it's actually not rust. It must be like Cosmoline or something on the car, because it peels off. If you look at it, it's just a coating. So no stress there, although somebody put a radio in this car at one point and did a terrible job of it, because I cut my finger on the hole they gouged into the door. So anybody thinking I'm ruining a Ferrari, this car's never been sacred, it's fine. We do have some wiring we got to get out of this thing. I don't know if I'm going to get to that today. Plus, there is a ton of kind of sound deadener sprayed to the inside of the door, and I'd love to find a way to get rid of that. I don't know if that's doable or not, but I bet it's pretty heavy because you can tell it's thick. It's that big kind of spray-on stuff. Probably keeps the door from sounding tinny. Overall though, door card came out really easily. Let's go pull the other side off. All right, so same story over here. The speaker hole was completely butchered on this thing. Just really sad somebody did this level of installation on it, but is what it is. Same story about our kind of looks like rust but peels off stuff here. That'll just all come right off. And then on this side, you can actually get a better look at the sound deadener I was talking about. You can see all this kind of sprayed on bumpy texture. I really don't think there's gonna be a way to get that off without actually blasting the doors, and I don't think I'm gonna go that far, but at least you can see what I'm talking about. All right, let's see what the weight is out of curiosity. So good news, the door cards each weighed 9 pounds and 11 ounces, and the speakers that I pulled out were another 2 pounds and 6 ounces, which gives us a cumulative weight loss of 24.12 pounds. That's a massive chunk I did not expect to lose today. I don't know how lightweight I can really get the door cards that are gonna go back in. I'd imagine only a few pounds a piece. Like I said, I want something really simple, flat, probably like a black, Alcantara panel with a pull strap for the handle or something. Just really minimalistic, but it's gonna be lightweight, which is good. So all in all, that's really good. We pulled over 50 pounds, 52 pounds and change out of the car today. I think our total weight loss at this point is getting really close to 1,400 pounds. Now, I know a ton of weight's got to go back in. We're pulling out a ton of stuff that does have to go back, but that's 1,400 pounds, not including a lot of stuff that I do know needs to go back in. I haven't weighed the dash, I haven't weighed the axles, I haven't weighed one of the fuel tanks. I mean, certain components I know we're gonna go back into this car, so there's not a point in weighing them other than just finding out what they might weigh. And maybe we'll do that later, but all in all, I'm just trying to get an idea of how much weight we can really pull out of this car. If you didn't catch it, one of the very first episodes I put together was establishing this car weighed 3,132 pounds stock, and that's without the factory spare in it, and with only about a quarter tank of fuel. So pretty heavy car, if you're asking me, my personal opinion, given how tiny this car is. This is not a very big one. And so I'd really love to get this car down to that 2,500 pound weight. I think that would be an ideal goal. I think realistically I need to set my expectations at maybe 2,700 pound range, but I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. My buddy Amir is still really confident we can find 2,500 pounds, so we're just gonna have to see. But with that, I'll stop rambling. I think that's gonna conclude today's episode. I think we've done a lot. That was a really full day, and I'm really happy. I think we are pretty much at the end of the disassembly phase. I'm hopeful, maybe starting next episode, we're gonna do some engine mounts. I'm kind of tired of waiting. I think I'm gonna call up the dry sump pan company that I'm going with, get some dimensions from them, and maybe we'll just err on the side of caution and leave some adjustability in this thing, because I wanna get this thing done, and we can't wait forever, right? All right, thank you guys as always for watching. I really appreciate the support. 25,000 is crazy, it means a ton to me. I can't wait to hit that next milestone. Let's go for 50, guys. I appreciate it, thank you. I'll catch you in the next episode on Thursday. Thanks.